For years, the gold standard advice in Bitcoin was simple. Buy a dedicated hardware wallet, write down your 24 words, keep it offline, and sleep soundly knowing your keys are safe. That promise was completely shattered last week when a critical flaw in ColdCard's random number generator allowed attackers to sweep tens of millions of dollars out of offline wallets in less than an hour. This isn't just another crypto hack. It's a historic turning point. So, how does the hardware wallet industry recover from this? What security upgrades are coming next? And is single signature storage officially dead? I know today's video isn't about trading, but I had to make a video about this as a Bitcoin investor in light of the magnitude of what has just happened. To understand where security is going, we have to look at what went wrong. The ColdCard vulnerability wasn't a phishing scam, and nobody stole physical devices. It was a firmware bug that bypassed the chip's hardware random number generator, falling back on predictable code. Instead of 2 to the power of 128 potential key combinations, a number larger than all the atoms on Earth, the search space collapsed down to around 40 bits of entropy on affected models. On high-powered computers, an attacker could pre-compute those private keys offline and sweep funds directly off the blockchain. It proved a terrifying point. If you rely on a single vendor's firmware, a single line of bad code can bypass your offline air gap entirely. So how does hardware security change moving forward? Expect 3 major shifts in how devices are built and used. 1. Mandatory anti-klepto protocols. First, anti-klepto protocols, formerly known as BIP 340 nonce commitments. Historically, when a hardware wallet signs a transaction, you have to blindly trust that the internal device isn't using faulty or malicious randomness. Anti-Klepto allows your companion software wallet, like Sparrow or Electrum, to actively inject extra entropy into the signing process. It verifies mathematically that the hardware isn't exfiltrating your keys or using predictable numbers. 2. Verified user entropy, bypassing internal chips. Second, moving away from internal RNGs altogether. While some devices allowed users to roll physical dice to generate seed words, the device firmware often hashed those dice rolls together with its internal random number generator. Going forward, hardware wallets will offer pure, unmixed user entropy. You roll physical dice, the math is performed strictly on open specifications, and the device's internal RNG is completely bypassed. 3. Automated continuous fuzzing and open auditing. Third, firmwares will undergo far harsher automated testing. Every software update will go through continuous integration, fuzzing, running millions of simulated key generations through statistical test suites before code ever reaches a user's device. Beyond device specs, the biggest impact of this disaster is how everyday users structure their cold storage. The end of single sig for life savings. Single signature storage, where one seed phrase controls all your funds, is no longer considered sufficient for substantial holdings. No matter how reputable a manufacturer is, relying on single sig means trusting that one engineering team got 100% of their firmware right forever. Multi-vendor multisig becomes the standard. Multi-signature setups, like needing 2 out of 3 keys to approve a transaction, were already popular. But many users made the mistake of buying 3 devices from the same company for simplicity. Moving forward, strict vendor diversity will be the golden rule. If you hold a 2 of 3 multisig split between 3 completely different manufacturers running totally independent codebases, a catastrophic bug on any single device leaves your funds completely safe. The rise of stateless, DIY hardware. We are also seeing massive interest in stateless devices like SeedSigner or Krux. These are open-source, air-gap signers that run on off-the-shelf components like a Raspberry Pi. They don't save private keys on onboard flash memory and operate purely by reading QR codes. Because they don't store long-term keys or rely on proprietary secure elements, the attack surface for dormant firmware bugs is drastically reduced. The ColdCard incident is a painful wake-up call. But just like exchange collapses taught us the importance of self-custody, this event is forcing hardware security to evolve. Here is your quick takeaway checklist. Check your seeds. If you generated a seed phrase on an affected device without supplying your own verified entropy, migrate your funds to newly generated keys on updated firmware or an unaffected model immediately. Never rely on one vendor. If you're storing serious wealth, upgrade to a multi-vendor multisig setup. Verify, don't trust. Look for software and hardware that support open entropy and anti-klepto signing verification. Let me know down in the comments. Has this changed how you think about single hardware wallets? Are you moving toward multisig or stateless setup? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.